Her family disowned her for getting pregnant at 18, then the baby's billionaire father shows up in a BMW. I was about to jump. Not metaphorically. Actually jump. From the Aurora Bridge, 167 feet above the cold Seattle water, with my 7-month pregnant belly and $73 to my name. The railing was cold under my palms. The wind whipped my hair across my face. One step. That's all it would take. One step, and my daughter and I would finally stop hurting. Then I heard the car. Hey everyone, it's so good to have you here with me today. I need you to stay with me through this story because what happened in the next 60 seconds changed everything, and I mean everything. Where are you watching from right now? And if you haven't subscribed, do it now. Right now. Because this story doesn't go where you think it does. My name is Ellie Strode. I'm 18 years old. And the night I decided to die, a billionaire showed up and told me I was carrying the most valuable baby in America. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The car, I heard it before I saw it. A deep, throaty purr that didn't belong on a bridge at 2 a.m. I didn't turn around. Didn't care. Someone would try to talk me down, call the police, waste everyone's time. I'd made my decision. My daughter kicked hard against my ribs, like she knew. Like she was fighting me. I'm sorry, baby girl, I whispered into the wind. There's nothing left. No home. No family. No way to keep you safe. The eviction notice was in my pocket. So was the text from my mother, you made your choice. Live with it. Or don't. We don't care anymore. 3 months since they'd thrown me out. 3 months of sleeping in my car until it got repossessed. 2 months of couch surfing until everyone's charity ran out. 3 weeks in a motel that smelled like meth and desperation. And now, tonight, after the night manager told me he'd let me stay 1 more week if I took care of him, his hand sliding down my arm, his eyes on my body, I'd walked out with nothing but the clothes on my back. Nowhere to go. No one to call. Nothing left to lose. I gripped the railing tighter, pulled myself up. My swollen belly made it harder than I'd expected. The wind was stronger up here. Ellie. I froze. The voice came from behind me. Male. Deep. Familiar in a way that made my heart stop. Don't turn around, the voice said. Not yet. Just listen. Go away, I said. My voice sounded small against the wind. I can't do that. You don't know me. You don't know what I've been through. Just let me. Your name is Ellie Strode. You're 18. 7 months pregnant. Your family disowned you the night you told them about the baby. Your mother is Rebecca. Your father is Pastor Thomas Strode of Lighthouse Fellowship Church. Your sister Lydia still texts you every night begging you to come home, but you never answer because your mother threatened to disown her too if she contacted you. Ice flooded my veins. I turned slowly, one hand still gripping the railing. Standing 20 feet away, next to a midnight blue BMW M8, was a man in a suit that probably cost more than my entire life. Tall. Dark hair. Eyes that I recognized even though I'd only seen them once before, 9 months ago, in the dim light of a hotel room where I'd made the biggest mistake of my life. Julian. The one-night stand who disappeared like smoke. The father of my baby. You, I breathed. Me, he said. His face was pale. His hands were shaking. Get away from the railing, Ellie. How did you find me? How do you know? I know everything. He took one careful step forward. I know you tried to call me 2 for 7 times. I know the number I gave you was disconnected. I know you went to the hotel where we met, and they told you no one by my name had ever stayed there. I know you thought I was a ghost. Tears burned my eyes. You lied to me. Everything you said that night was a lie. Yes. The simple honesty of it knocked the air from my lungs. Then why are you here? Because 6 weeks ago, I found out you existed. His voice cracked. 6 weeks ago, I discovered that the one real night of my entire life had consequences. that the woman I couldn't stop thinking about was pregnant and homeless, and he stopped, jaw clenched. And I've spent every second since then trying to find you before it was too late. Too late for what? To save you. Both of you. I laughed, and it came out broken. Save me? Look at me. I'm standing on a bridge about to jump because there's nothing left to save. There's everything left to save. He shouted it, raw and desperate. That baby you're carrying? She's worth $18 billion. The world stopped. What? My name is Julian Corleone Rothman. My grandfather is Theodore Rothman, Rothman Industries. $78 billion. And your daughter, our daughter, is the first Rothman airborne in 37 years. He took another step closer. There are people who would kill to prevent her from being born. And there are people who've been working for months to make sure that when I finally found you, you'd be so broken, so desperate, you'd have no choice but to. A laser dot appeared on his chest. Everything happened at once. Julian's eyes went wide. Get down. He lunged forward as the gunshot cracked through the air. The bullet hit the bridge railing right where my head had been a second before. Julian slammed into me, his arms wrapping around my body as we hit the ground hard. I screamed. My belly. The baby. Are you hurt? Julian's hands were on my face, my arms, checking frantically. Ellie, are you hurt? Another gunshot. The BMW's window shattered. We have to move. Now. He pulled me to my feet, positioned himself between me and wherever the shots were coming from. Can you run? I'm 7 months pregnant. Can you run? A black SUV screeched onto the bridge from the south end. Another from the north. We were boxed in. Julian grabbed my hand, pulled me toward the BMW. Get in. They're shooting at us. They're shooting at me. You're too valuable. He shoved me into the passenger seat, ran around to the driver's side as bullets pinged off the armored car. They want you alive. He threw the car into gear and did something impossible. He drove straight at the southern SUV, accelerating to 70 miles per hour in 3 seconds. What are you doing? I screamed. Trust me. I don't even know you. You're about to. At the last possible second, he whipped the wheel hard right, smashing through the bridge's safety barrier. For one terrifying moment, we were airborne. Falling toward the water 167 feet below. Then the tires hit the pedestrian walkway. How was there a pedestrian walkway here? And we were racing along the side of the bridge, sparks flying, metal screaming. There's no exit. I shouted. There is now. He crashed through another barrier, and suddenly we were flying down an emergency maintenance ramp I didn't even know existed, hitting the ground on the far side of the bridge so hard my teeth rattled. Behind us, the SUVs were trapped on the bridge, unable to follow. Julian didn't slow down. He drove like a man possessed, weaving through empty Seattle streets at speeds that should have killed us. Who were they? I gasped, my hand pressed to my belly. The baby was kicking frantically. Who's trying to kill you? Not just me anymore. He glanced at me, and his eyes were fierce. The moment they saw you pregnant, everything changed. Now they're trying to kill both of us. But why? Because my family isn't just rich, Ellie. We control things. Industries. Governments. Technologies that could change the world. And when my grandfather dies, which could happen any day now, whoever controls the Rothman Air controls everything. My head was spinning. This is insane. This isn't real. This is. Your mother didn't disown you because you got pregnant. The words cut through my panic. What? Julian's hands tightened on the wheel. She was paid. $50,000 deposited into an offshore account in her name 3 months ago. The same day she threw you out. No. I shook my head. No, that's not, she wouldn't. Someone wanted you isolated. Alone. Desperate. Someone who knew that when I finally found you, you'd be so broken you'd believe anything I told you. Do anything I asked. Sign anything I put in front of you. Who? I don't know yet. But I'm going to find out. He looked at me again, and despite everything, despite the bullets and the chase and the absolute insanity, his voice went soft. That night we met. 9 months ago. Do you remember what I told you? I remembered everything about that night. Every word. Every touch. Every promise whispered in the dark. You said you'd never felt more alive, I whispered. I meant it. That was the only true thing in my entire life up to that point. His hand reached over, covered mine on my belly. And this baby, our daughter, she's the second true thing. The car slowed. We were in an underground parking garage. Expensive. Private. Safe. Julian put the car in park but didn't let go of my hand. I know you have no reason to trust me, he said quietly. I know I lied to you. I know I disappeared. I know I've let you suffer for months while I was too stupid and blind to figure out what was happening. But I'm here now. And I'm asking you, or begging you, to give me a chance to protect you. Both of you. Tears were streaming down my face. I was about to jump off that bridge. I know. I have nothing left. No one. You have me. His thumb brushed across my knuckles. And I have resources you can't even imagine. Money. Security. Power. Everything I have is yours now. Yours and hers. Why? The word came out broken. Why do you care? You don't even know me. Because 9 months ago, for one night, I was real. I was myself. And the woman I was with, you saw me. Not my money. Not my name. Not the prison I've lived in my entire life. Just me. His voice dropped to a whisper. And I've been trying to find my way back to that feeling ever since. The baby kicked hard, and Julian felt it. His eyes widened. She's strong, I said softly. Like her mother. For a moment, we just sat there in the silence of the garage, his hand on my belly, our daughter moving between us, the echoes of gunfire still ringing in my ears. This is crazy, I finally said. Completely. People are trying to kill us? Yes. My family sold me out. We'll make them pay. I don't even know if I can trust you. He looked at me with eyes that held more pain than I'd ever seen. Then let me earn it. Every day. Starting right now. I should have said no. Should have run. Should have done anything except what I did next. But I was tired. So tired. And his hand was warm on my belly, and our daughter was kicking like she recognized her father's touch, and for the first time in 3 months, I wasn't alone. Okay, I whispered. Okay? Tell me everything. The truth this time. All of it. Julian closed his eyes like I'd just given him the world. Thank you, he breathed. Then his phone rang. He looked at the screen, and all the color drained from his face. What? I asked. What is it? It's my grandfather. His voice was hollow. He's dying. And he's demanding to meet you and the baby. Tonight. But I'm not due for 2 months. How does he even know? Because whoever tried to kill us just told him. Julian looked at me, and I saw fear in his eyes for the first time. And if my grandfather meets you before I can explain everything, before I can protect you, he'll take our daughter the moment she's born, and we'll never see her again. My blood turned to ice. What? We have 3 hours. He started the car again. 3 hours to get you somewhere safe, tell you everything, and figure out how to survive what's coming next. And if we don't? He looked at me with eyes full of secrets and sorrow and something that might have been love. Then tonight, Ellie Strode, you're going to discover that being dead might have been easier than being a Rothman. The safe house wasn't what I expected. I'd imagined some sterile, corporate penthouse with bulletproof glass and armed guards. Instead, Julian drove us to a modest craftsman-style home in the Ballard neighborhood, tucked behind overgrown hedges and a rusted iron gate that looked like it hadn't been opened in years. This is safe. I asked as he killed the engine. This is invisible. He unbuckled his seatbelt and turned to face me. My grandfather doesn't know about it. Neither does anyone in my family. I bought it under a shell corporation 5 years ago when I first started planning my escape. Escape from what? His jaw tightened. From the life they built for me before I was born. He got out and came around to my door, offering his hand. I hesitated, staring at those fingers that had touched me so intimately 9 months ago, that had just covered my belly with such tenderness. I can walk by myself, I said. I know you can. But he didn't lower his hand. Doesn't mean you should have to. Something in his voice made me take it. His grip was firm, steady, and when he helped me out of the car, his other hand automatically went to the small of my back, supporting my weight. Like he'd done this before. Like he'd been practicing in his mind for months. The house smelled like dust and old books. Julian flipped on the lights, revealing a living room frozen in time, mid-century furniture, faded photographs on the mantel, a brick fireplace that hadn't seen a fire in decades. Whose house was this? I asked, wrapping my arms around myself. My grandmother's. My real grandmother, not the woman who married my grandfather. He moved through the space like a ghost, touching things with a reverence that made my chest ache. She died when my mother was 10. Grandfather remarried 6 months later to a woman half his age. This house, everything in it, he erased it all. Pretended she never existed. But you remembered. My mother told me stories. He picked up a photograph from the mantel. A beautiful woman with kind eyes holding a little girl. She said her mother was the only person who ever really loved her. The only person who saw her as more than a Rothman chess piece. I moved closer, studying the photograph. The little girl had Julian's eyes. What happened to your mother? His face went dark. She killed herself when I was 7. The words hung in the air like an executioner's blade. Julian. She left me a letter. I wasn't supposed to read it until I turned 18, but I found it when I was 14. He set the photograph down carefully. She said being a Rothman was a cage made of gold. That she'd tried to escape once, ran away with a man she loved, got pregnant with me. But grandfather found her. Brought her back. Had her lover killed. My hand flew to my mouth. She told me that if I ever found something real, real love, real freedom, real life, I should run and never look back. He turned to face me, and his eyes were haunted. 9 months ago, I found something real. And I was too much of a coward to run. What happened that night? I asked softly. After I fell asleep. He moved to the couch, sank down like the weight of the world was on his shoulders. I sat carefully beside him, my pregnant belly making everything awkward. I woke up at dawn, he said. You were sleeping. You looked so peaceful. So beautiful. And I lay there thinking about how I could do it, how I could disappear with you. Start over somewhere my name meant nothing. But you didn't. I got a phone call. My head of security. They'd tracked me to the hotel. I'd slipped my detail the night before. First time in 10 years I'd managed it. They were coming up. I had maybe 3 minutes. He looked at his hands. I could have woken you. Could have explained. Could have taken you with me. But I convinced myself it would be cruel. That you deserved better than a life on the run with someone you barely knew. So you left a fake number. So you could hate me cleanly. Move on. Forget that night ever happened. His voice cracked. I didn't know you'd get pregnant. Didn't know that one real night would create another real thing. A tear slipped down my cheek. I tried so hard to find you. I know. And I never knew you were trying because the number you were calling, it went to my head of security. Victor Chen. He's been with my family for 30 years. I trusted him completely. Julian's hands clenched into fists. 6 weeks ago, I found out he'd been intercepting everything. Your calls. Your attempts to reach me. He knew about the pregnancy from the beginning. My blood went cold. Why would he hide it from you? Because someone paid him to. Someone who wanted you isolated and desperate. Someone who wanted to make sure that when I finally found out, the situation would be so dire, so desperate, that I'd have no choice but to. He stopped, shook his head. But to what? Before he could answer, his phone rang again. He looked at the screen and his face went ashen. It's him. My grandfather. Don't answer it. I have to. If I don't, he'll assume the worst. He stood, paced to the window. Let me handle this. Don't say a word. He answered on speaker. Julian. The voice that came through was old but sharp as broken glass. I understand congratulations are in order. Grandfather. A baby. My great-granddaughter. How unexpected. There was a pause that felt like a predator circling. Bring her to me. She's not due for 2 months. Not the baby, you fool. The mother. I want to meet the woman carrying the Rothman heir. Julian's eyes met mine. That's not possible tonight. Make it possible. I'm dying, Julian. Stage for pancreatic cancer. The doctors give me 3 weeks. Maybe 4. I will meet this woman before I die, and I will determine if she's suitable to raise a Rothman. Suitable. Julian's voice turned to ice. She's the mother of my child. She's not applying for a job. Isn't she? The old man's laugh was cruel. Everything is a transaction, boy. You should know that by now. The woman gets wealth beyond imagination. Security. Status. And in return, she gives us the heir. It's a fair trade. She's not for sale. Everyone is for sale. It's just a matter of price. Another pause. I've done my research on her. Ellie Strode. 18 years old. Parents are Pastor Thomas and Rebecca Strode, devout, respectable, until their daughter spread her legs for a stranger and got herself pregnant. I flinched like I'd been slapped. Julian's face went murderous. Don't you dare. They threw her out. Good Christians doing the right thing. Teaching their daughter about consequences. The old man's voice was full of satisfaction. She's been homeless. Desperate. Working degrading jobs just to survive. And now she's carrying the most valuable baby in America, and she doesn't even understand what that means. Stop talking about her like. Bring her to me tonight, Julian. Or I'll send my people to collect her. And trust me when I say my methods are far less gentle than yours. The line went dead. Julian stood frozen, his knuckles white around the phone. Julian? I whispered. He spun to face me, and I saw something break in his expression. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry you heard that. He's a monster. A calculating, heartless. Is it true? My voice shook. Did you research me? Did you know about my parents throwing me out before tonight? He hesitated. Just for a second. But I saw it. Yes, he said finally. I've known for 6 weeks. Since the moment I found out you existed, I've had investigators tracking your every move. Betrayal burned through my chest. You've been watching me suffer. I've been watching you survive. He moved toward me, desperate. Ellie, I was trying to figure out what was happening. Why my own head of security would hide your existence from me. Why someone would pay your mother to disown you. Why there was a pattern of... A pattern of what? Destruction. He ran his hands through his hair. Everyone you tried to turn to for help. Your best friend Hannah, she suddenly got that job offer in New York and moved away 2 months ago, right? I nodded slowly. She was paid $50,000 to leave Seattle and cut all contact with you. My stomach dropped. Your boss at the diner. The one who fired you for being pregnant even though that's illegal. Mr. Peterson. Paid $75,000 to terminate you and make sure you couldn't collect unemployment. Each word was a knife. Why? To isolate you. To make sure you had no support system. No safety net. Nothing to fall back on. Julian's voice shook with rage. Someone has been systematically destroying your life for months. And I've been trying to figure out who before they succeeded in destroying you completely. I stood up, my hands trembling. And you didn't think to tell me? To warn me? 2. I didn't want to scare you until I knew for sure. Until I could protect you. Protect me? I laugh bitterly. You've been watching me from the shadows like some kind of stalker while people literally paid my own mother to abandon me. I know how it sounds. Do you? Tears were streaming down my face now. Do you have any idea what it's like to have your own parents look at you like you're garbage? To sleep in your car in January because you have nowhere else to go? To stand on a bridge at 2 a.m. trying to decide if your baby would be better off dead? Ellie. I was about to jump. I screamed it. I was about to kill myself and our daughter because I thought there was no hope left. And you were out there somewhere, watching, knowing, and you did nothing. I was trying to do it right. His voice broke. I was trying to figure out who was behind it all so I could eliminate the threat before I brought you into this world. Into this nightmare. I was trying to control everything. Just like your grandfather. The words came out cold. You're exactly like him, aren't you? Moving people around like chess pieces. Deciding what I should know and when I should know it. Making decisions about my life without asking me what I want. He looked like I'd shot him. That's not fair. Isn't it? I moved toward the door. You say you want something real. But everything about this, about us, has been manipulation from the start. Where are you going? Anywhere but here. Ellie, there are people trying to kill you. Maybe I'll take my chances. I reached for the door handle. His hand slammed against the door above my head, holding it shut. Not threatening. Desperate. Please, he whispered. Please don't go. You're right. About all of it. I've been controlling. I've been watching instead of helping. I've been so focused on the puzzle that I forgot there was a real person suffering. His forehead pressed against the door beside my head. But if you walk out that door, they will find you. And they will hurt you to get to me. To get to our daughter. Then tell me the truth. I turned to face him, and we were inches apart. All of it. Right now. No more secrets. No more protection. Treat me like a partner, not a victim. His eyes searched mine. If I tell you everything, you'll never be able to unknow it. Your life will never be normal again. My life stopped being normal the night I met you. He exhaled slowly. Then he stepped back, giving me space. Okay, he said. Okay. The truth. All of it. He moved back to the couch, and after a moment, I followed. Sat down carefully, my hand on my belly where our daughter was kicking up a storm. Julian leaned forward, elbows on his knees, and began to talk. My grandfather built Rothman Industries on 3 pillars: technology, pharmaceuticals, and defense contracts. Publicly, we're worth $78 billion. Privately, we control assets worth 10 times that. We have contracts with every major government. We own patents on technologies that could change the world or destroy it. What kind of technologies? Medical breakthroughs that could cure diseases but would crash the pharmaceutical market. Energy solutions that would eliminate dependence on oil. AI systems that could revolutionize warfare. He looked at his hands. We keep them locked away. Release them slowly. Only when it's profitable. My skin crawled. That's evil. That's business. At least, that's what I was raised to believe. He glanced at me. My grandfather is dying. When he dies, control of everything passes to the next generation. That should be my uncle, my father's brother. But he died 3 years ago. Suspicious circumstances. Officially ruled a heart attack. You think your grandfather killed him? I think my grandfather has killed a lot of people who stood between him and power. Julian's voice was flat. Which brings us to me. I'm the next in line. The last male Rothman of my generation. I was raised from birth to take over the empire. Private tutors. Training in economics, politics, manipulation. I've never been to a real school. Never had a real friend. Never made a choice that wasn't vetted by a team of advisors. That's not a life. That's a prison. Exactly what my mother said in her letter. He smiled sadly. For years, I believed I'd just accept it. Take over when the time came. But then I turned 25, and grandfather started talking about marriage. About choosing a suitable woman to produce an heir. He had candidates. Women from powerful families. Women who understood their role in the transaction. Like breeding horses, I said quietly. Yes. And I realized I couldn't do it. Couldn't sentence another person to the prison I'd lived in. Couldn't create a child just to trap them in the same cycle. He looked at me. So I started planning my escape. Started moving money into hidden accounts. Creating false identities. Building safe houses like this one. And then you met me. And then I met you. His voice softened. I'd slipped my security detail for one night. Just one night to feel normal. I went to that bar. Sat down. Ordered a drink. And then you walked in. I remembered. I'd been celebrating finishing my first year of community college. My friends had dragged me out even though I didn't drink, didn't party, was saving every penny for tuition. You were laughing, Julian continued. Really laughing. So free. So alive. And I couldn't look away. You told me your name was Julian Corleone. You said you worked in import-export. I lied about everything except how you made me feel. He met my eyes. When I kissed you that night, it was the first time I'd ever kissed someone I actually wanted to kiss. When we went back to that hotel room, it was the first time I'd ever been with someone I chose. He'd crept up my neck at the memory. It was my first time, I admitted quietly. Ever. His eyes widened. What? I was a virgin. Pastor's daughter, remember? I'd been saving myself for marriage. For the right person. I laughed bitterly. Turns out the right person was a stranger who disappeared the next morning. Ellie, I didn't know. How could you? I didn't tell you. I wanted that night to be different from every other night of my life. Wanted to be someone other than the good girl. The perfect daughter. Just for a few hours. I touched my belly. Guess I got what I wanted. Julian looked stricken. If I'd known it was your first time, I would have. What? Stayed? Told me the truth. Yes. Both. All of it. He reached for my hand, and this time I let him take it. You gave me something precious that night. And I threw it away because I was too afraid to fight for it. And now? Now everything's different. His thumb traced circles on my palm. Now there's her. As if on cue, our daughter kicked hard enough that Julian felt it. His face transformed, wonder and fear and love all at once. Can I? He gestured to my belly. I nodded, not trusting my voice. He placed both hands on my stomach, gentle, reverent. The baby kicked again, stronger this time, right into his palm. She's so strong, he whispered. She has to be. Look at what she's being born into. His eyes met mine. I won't let that life touch her. I swear to you, Ellie. Whatever it takes, I will keep her free. How? Your grandfather knows about her? People are trying to kill us. My own family sold me out. How do we protect her from all of that? We run. The words came out firm. Decided. Tonight. We disappear. I have money hidden away. Identities prepared. We can be on a plane to New Zealand in 3 hours. Start over where no one knows the Rothman name. Your grandfather will hunt us. He's dying. 3 weeks, maybe 4. We outlast him. And whoever paid my mother? Whoever's been destroying my life? We figure it out from a safe distance. His hands were still on my belly, protective. I know it's not perfect. I know it's not the life you imagined. But it's freedom. For all 3 of us. I wanted to say yes. God, I wanted to say yes. But something was bothering me. Something that didn't add up. Julian, if someone's been trying to isolate me for months, why? What's the endgame? He frowned. What do you mean? Think about it. They paid my mother to disown me. Paid my friend to leave. Got me fired. Made sure I had nowhere to turn. I pulled my hands away from his, needed to think clearly. But why go through all that trouble? If they wanted to hurt you, why not just kill me when they found out I was pregnant? His face went pale. I don't. Because they needed me desperate, I said slowly, the pieces clicking together. They needed me so broken, so alone, that when you finally showed up, I'd be your only option, Julian finished, horror dawning in his eyes. And you'd take me somewhere safe. Somewhere hidden. Somewhere isolated. We stared at each other as the terrible truth settled between us. This is a trap, I whispered. This whole thing. They wanted you to find me exactly like this. Wanted you to bring me somewhere they couldn't normally reach you. Julian was on his feet instantly, pulling out his phone. We need to leave. Right now. It's too late for that. The voice came from the doorway. We both spun around. Standing in the entrance to the living room, holding a gun pointed directly at my belly, was a woman I'd never seen before. Beautiful. Mid-40s. Expensive clothes. Cold eyes. And she was smiling. Hello, Julian, she said. It's been a long time. Julian's face drained of all color. Victoria. You remember. I'm touched. The woman, Victoria, moved further into the room, the gun never wavering. Though I suppose it's hard to forget your father's murderer. My blood turned to ice. You killed my father, Julian said, his voice deadly quiet. Technically, I just ordered it. But yes. She smiled wider. And now I'm going to kill you too. Right in front of your pregnant girlfriend. Make her watch. Make her understand what happens to people who try to escape the family. Why? I gasped. What do you want? Victoria's eyes slid to me, and I saw pure calculation in them. Want? Oh, sweet girl. I already have what I want. She pulled out her phone with her free hand, pressed a button. I have a visual. Send in the team. Through the windows, I saw black SUVs pulling up. Men in tactical gear pouring out. You see, Victoria continued, Theodore Rothman isn't the only one who wants that baby. There are others. People who understand what a Rothman heir is really worth. People willing to pay extraordinary amounts for access to her. For control over her future. You're going to sell my daughter. The words came out strangled. Not sell. Lease. To the highest bidder. Imagine 18 years of controlling every decision, every action, every thought of the Rothman heir. Shaping her into exactly the tool we need. By the time she inherits, she'll be ours completely. Julian moved in front of me, shielding my body with his. I'll kill you first. No, you won't. Because if you move even 1 inch, I put a bullet in her belly. Maybe the baby survives. Maybe she doesn't. Want to risk it? The front door crashed open. Men flooded in. And I realized with absolute certainty that we were about to lose everything. Our daughter. Our freedom. Our lives. Unless we did something impossible. I grabbed Julian's hand and whispered, "Do you trust me?" He looked at me like I was insane. "Yes," he said anyway. "Then when I move, run for the back door." "Ellie, what are you?" I didn't give him time to finish. I collapsed. Just dropped to the floor like I'd fainted, my hands clutching my belly, a scream tearing from my throat. "The baby!" I shrieked. "Something's wrong." The baby! It was pure performance. Pure desperation. And it worked. Victoria's gun dipped for just a second as she instinctively looked at my stomach. The men hesitated, uncertain. Julian didn't waste the moment. He grabbed me, hauled me up, and ran. We crashed through the back door as gunfire erupted behind us. Through the overgrown backyard. Over a fence that tore at my clothes. Into an alley that smelled like garbage and rain. Julian had his phone out, pressing buttons frantically as we ran. "What are you doing?" I gasped. "Calling in a favor. Just keep moving." We burst onto a main street. Cars honked. People stared at the pregnant woman running like her life depended on it. Because it did. A helicopter appeared overhead. Searchlight cutting through the darkness. "There!" I heard someone shout behind us. Julian pulled me into a parking garage. Up the stairs. My lungs were burning. My belly cramped with each step. "I can't," I gasped. "Julian, I can't keep." A car screeched around the corner on the parking garage third level. Not a BMW this time. A nondescript Honda. The driver's door opened. A woman got out. Asian. Mid-50s. Kind eyes in a hard face. "Get in," she said. "Both of you. Now." "Who?" I started. "This is my Chen," Julian said, pulling me toward the car. "Victor's wife. And the only person in the world I still trust." We threw ourselves into the back seat. Mai was already moving before the doors closed, driving with the same precision Julian had shown. "Where to?" she asked calmly. Julian looked at me. And in his eyes, I saw the question he was really asking. Do we run? Or do we fight? I thought about my daughter. About the life they wanted to steal from her. About the cage they'd trapped Julian in since birth. I thought about my mother, counting her blood money. About everyone who'd sold me out. About Victoria's cold smile. And I made a decision. "Take us to Theodore Rothman," I said. Both Julian and Mai stared at me like I'd lost my mind. "Ellie, no. He's the last person." "He's dying," I interrupted. "And he wants to meet me. So let's give him what he wants." "You don't understand what you're suggesting. He'll take control. He'll listen." I place my hand over Julian's. "Because I'm going to offer him something Victoria can't." "What?" I looked down at my belly, where our daughter was fighting like she always did. A real Rothman heir. Raised by her real parents. Not stolen. Not controlled. Not destroyed by the same people who killed his son. I met Julian's eyes. "Your grandfather is a monster. But he's a monster who cares about legacy. About family. About the Rothman name. How does that help us? Because if we disappear, that baby becomes a pawn. Victoria wins. The vultures win. But if we go to him, if we make a deal, we give up everything," Julian said flatly. "We give up running," I corrected. "But we get something back. Protection. Resources. Power." I squeezed his hand. "You said you've been planning an escape for years. Well, I'm planning a different kind of escape. Not from the family. From the people trying to destroy it." Mai was watching me in the review mirror, and I saw something like respect in her eyes. "The girl has steel," she said to Julian. "The girl is insane," he muttered. "Maybe." I touched my belly. "But I'm also her mother. And I will do whatever it takes to keep her safe. Even if that means making a deal with the devil himself." Julian stared at me for a long moment. Then, slowly, he started to laugh. "What?" I demanded. "My mother's letter. She told me that if I ever found something real, I should run and never look back." He cupped my face in his hands. "But she never met you. Never imagined I'd find someone brave enough to run toward the fire instead of away from it. Is that a yes?" "It says you're absolutely crazy and I'm completely in love with you." The words hung in the air between us. "You don't love me," I whispered. "You barely know me. I know you were willing to die to protect our daughter. I know you just bluffed your way out of a hostage situation while 7 months pregnant. I know you're about to walk into the lion's den without flinching." His thumb brushed my cheek. "I know enough." Tears burned my eyes. "This is insane. Completely. We're probably going to die. Most likely. And you're really sure you trust me? With everything. I kissed him. Hard. Desperate. Like it might be the last time. When we broke apart, Mai was smiling in the rearview mirror. So, she said. The Rothman estate. Julian looked at me one more time, giving me a chance to back out. I nodded. The Rothman estate, he confirmed. As Mai drove us toward the compound where Julian had grown up, where his grandfather waited to judge me, where our entire future would be decided, I felt our daughter kick. Strong. Defiant. Fighting. Your daughter takes after you, Julian murmured. Our daughter, I corrected. And she takes after both of us. He laced his fingers through mine and held on tight. Behind us, the city lights of Seattle faded into darkness. Ahead of us, everything was uncertain. But for the first time since I'd peed on that pregnancy test for months ago, I wasn't alone. And maybe, just maybe, that would be enough. The Rothman estate looked like something out of a Gothic novel. Perched on a cliff overlooking Puget Sound, the mansion sprawled across 20 acres of manicured grounds. Spotlights illuminated stone walls that had to be 15 feet high, topped with security cameras that tracked our car from the moment we turned onto the private road. I grew up here, Julian said quietly. And I've hated every inch of it since I was old enough to understand what it represented. Mai stopped at the main gate. A guard approached, recognized Julian, and went pale. Mr. Rothman. We weren't expecting. My grandfather asked to see me. Open the gate. Sir, I need to call. Open it. Now. The authority in Julian's voice made me shiver. This was a different man than the one who'd held my hand in the car. This was the heir. The Rothman. The gate swung open. We drove up a winding driveway lined with ancient oak trees. The house loomed ahead, all sharp angles and dark windows that looked like eyes watching our approach. It's not too late to turn back, Julian said. Yes, it is. Mai pulled up to the front entrance where a butler waited. Elderly. Impeccable suit. Expression carved from stone. Master Julian, he said as we got out. Your grandfather is in the study. He's been waiting. Is he alone? Dr. Morrison is with him. And? The butler hesitated. Ms. Hawthorne arrived 20 minutes ago. Julian's jaw clenched. Victoria's here. She claimed she had urgent business with Mr. Rothman. I bet she did. Julian took my hand. Stay close to me. Don't let anyone separate us. We walked through doors that probably cost more than my parents' house. The entry hall was all marble and crystal chandeliers and portraits of dead Rothman staring down with judgmental eyes. I felt every one of them looking at my swollen belly. Looking at the pastor's daughter who'd gotten knocked up by their golden heir. Looking at me like I was exactly what Victoria had called me, a transaction. Ignore them, Julian whispered, reading my thoughts. They're all dead. We're alive. We matter more. The study was at the end of a long hallway. The butler knocked once, then opened the door. The room beyond was dark except for a fireplace and a single lamp beside a massive leather chair. In that chair sat a man who looked like death had already started claiming him. Theodore Rothman was 87 years old and probably weighed 90 pounds. His skin was paper-thin, stretched over bones that seemed too sharp. But his eyes were alive. Burning. Calculating. And standing beside him, wearing a smile like a knife, was Victoria. Julian, Theodore rasped. You finally came home. I came because you demanded it. Julian's grip on my hand tightened. This is Ellie Strode. Theodore's eyes slid to me, and I felt stripped bare under that gaze. So you're the girl carrying my great-granddaughter? Yes, sir. My voice came out steadier than I felt. Victoria tells me you're trouble. That you and Julian are planning to run. To steal my heir and disappear. I glanced at Victoria, who was watching me like a cat watches a mouse. Victoria tried to kill us tonight, I said. Liar, Victoria snapped. She admitted to murdering Julian's father. She has men hunting us right now. And she told me she plans to sell your great-granddaughter to the highest bidder. Theodore's expression didn't change, but something flickered in those burning eyes. Victoria, he said softly. Is this true? Of course not. The girl is clearly unstable. Probably lying about the paternity too. I have proof, Julian interrupted. He pulled out his phone, pressed play. Victoria's voice filled the room. You see, Theodore Rothman isn't the only one who wants that baby. There are others. People willing to pay extraordinary amounts for access to her. For control over her future. The color drained from Victoria's face. Theodore listened to the entire recording in silence. When it finished, he pressed a button on his chair. 2 security guards appeared instantly. Take Miss Hawthorne to the holding room, Theodore said. And call my lawyers. I want her prosecuted for conspiracy, attempted murder, and treason against this family. You can't do this. Victoria screamed as the guards grabbed her. I've given you 20 years. You killed my son. And you thought I didn't know. Theodore's voice was ice. I've been waiting for you to make a mistake big enough to justify destroying you. Thank you for finally providing it. They dragged her out, still screaming threats. The door closed. And suddenly it was just the 3 of us. Me, Julian, and the dying monster who controlled everything. Sit, Theodore commanded. We Saturday. He studied me for a long moment. You're braver than I expected. Or more foolish. Both, probably, I admitted. That almost got a smile. Tell me about yourself, Miss Strode. What do you want to know? Everything. Start with why a pastor's daughter spread her legs for my grandson. Julian tensed beside me, but I put a hand on his arm. I was 18, I said calmly. I met a man who made me feel alive for the first time in my life. I made a choice. I don't regret it. Even though that choice left you homeless and pregnant. Even though your parents disowned you. They were paid to disown me. By Victoria, apparently. And if I told you I could make them pay for that? Could destroy their lives the way they destroyed yours. I thought about my mother's face when she slammed the door. My father's cold eyes. Lydia's tears. I don't want revenge, I said quietly. I want my daughter to grow up better than all of us. Theodore leaned back in his chair. Julian, leave us. Absolutely not, Julian said immediately. I want to speak to the girl alone. Then you'll be disappointed. I'm not leaving her. It wasn't a request. And I don't care. Julian stood, pulling me up with him. You want to meet Ellie? You want to judge whether she's worthy of raising a Rothman? Fine. But you do it with me here. Or you do it never. The 2 men stared at each other. A battle of wills that had probably been brewing for 25 years. Finally, Theodore laughed. It sounded like stones grinding together. You've finally grown a spine. About time. He gestured for us to sit again. Very well. We'll do this together. We sat back down, Julian's hand never leaving mine. I'm dying, Theodore said bluntly. 3 weeks. Maybe less. When I die, Julian inherits everything. Which makes that baby, he pointed at my belly. The most important person in this family's future. She's not a chess piece, I said. Everyone is a chess piece, girl. The question is whether you're smart enough to play the game. I don't want to play games. I want to raise my daughter in peace. There is no peace. Not at this level. There's only power and the people trying to take it from you. He coughed, and it sounded painful. But perhaps that's exactly what this family needs. Someone who doesn't want the power. Someone who wants something real. He looked at Julian when he said it. I have a proposal, Theodore continued. You 2 get married. Immediately. Before the baby is born. That legitimizes the heir and protects you both legally. We barely know each other, I protested. You know each other well enough to create a child. You'll learn the rest. Theodore's eyes burned into mine. In exchange, you get my full protection. My resources. My name. No one will touch you or that baby. Ever. And what do you get? Julian asked suspiciously. A legacy that isn't built on fear and manipulation. A great-granddaughter raised by parents who actually love each other. His voice softened almost imperceptibly. What I never gave my own children. There's a catch, I said. There's always a catch. Theodore smiled, and it was genuinely terrifying. Smart girl. Yes. There's a catch. He leaned forward. You don't run. You don't hide. You stand beside Julian and help him transform this family into something better than what I built. You raise your daughter to be strong enough to inherit it all. And you never, ever forget that you're a Rothman now. I'm not a Rothman. I'm Ellie Strode. Not for long. He pressed another button, and the butler appeared with papers. Sign this. Tonight. Marry my grandson. Join this family. Or walk away right now and spend the rest of your life running from people like Victoria. I looked at the papers. Then at Julian. What do you want? I asked him softly. I want you safe. I want our daughter safe. I want, he stopped, swallowed hard. I want what I felt that night we met. That feeling of being real. Of being free. Even if it's inside a cage. That's not an answer. Then here's my answer, I choose you. However that looks. Whatever that means. I choose you and her over everything else. My heart hammered against my ribs. I looked down at my belly, where our daughter was doing her nightly gymnastics routine. I thought about the bridge. The gun pointed at us. Victoria's cold smile. I thought about running for the rest of my life. And I thought about standing and fighting instead. I need one promise, I said to Theodore. Name it. When our daughter is born, she gets to choose her own life. Not you. Not Julian. Not me. When she's old enough, she gets to walk away if she wants to. You'd give up billions. I'd give up everything for her freedom. That's the deal. Take it or we walk. Theodore stared at me for a long moment. Then he started laughing. Really laughing. It turned into coughing, and the doctor rushed over with oxygen. When he could breathe again, Theodore looked at me with something that might have been respect. You remind me of someone, he said. Who? My first wife. Julian's real grandmother. She was the only person who ever stood up to me too. He pushed the papers toward me. Fine. The child gets to choose. I'll have it added to the contract. I picked up the pen. And hesitated. Ellie, Julian whispered. You don't have to do this. I know. We can still run. I know that too. But I thought about my daughter. About giving her every advantage. Every protection. Every chance I never had. I signed my name. Ellie Strode. For the last time. Theodore smiled like he'd just won the game. Welcome to the family, he said. And somewhere in the distance, I heard thunder rolling in. The storm was just beginning. The wedding happened 72 hours later. Not because we wanted it to. Because Theodore was dying faster than anyone expected, and he refused to go until he saw us married. Family tradition, he'd rasped from his hospital bed, he'd collapsed the morning after our meeting. Every Rothman bride gets married in the estate chapel. You'll be no different. So there I was, 8 months pregnant, standing in a room full of strangers who looked at me like I was a gold digger who'd trapped their golden boy. The dress had been altered 3 times to fit my belly. Silk and lace that probably cost more than my parents made in a year. I looked like a princess playing dress-up in someone else's fairy tale. Mai stood behind me, adjusting my veil. She'd barely left my side since that night. You can still say no, she whispered. The car is ready. We could be gone in 5 minutes. And go where? They'll hunt us. Maybe. But you'd be free. I looked at myself in the mirror. barely recognized the girl staring back. Freedom is overrated when people are shooting at you, I said. A knock on the door. The wedding planner, a woman named Catherine who'd organized the whole thing with military precision, poked her head in. It's time, Mrs. Rothman. Mrs. Rothman. I wasn't even married yet, and they were already erasing me. The chapel was small but stunning. Stained glass windows throwing colored light across white roses and pews filled with people I'd never met. Rothman relatives. Business associates. People who'd circled like sharks the moment they heard about the pregnant nobody their heir was marrying. And at the end of the aisle, standing beside a priest who looked older than the chapel itself, was Julian. He wore a black tuxedo that made him look like he'd stepped out of a magazine. Hair perfectly styled. Face carefully neutral. But his eyes found mine and something in them cracked. He mouthed two words, "I'm sorry." The music started. Wagner. Of course. I walked down that aisle alone. My father wasn't here, I hadn't returned a single one of my calls. My mother had sent a card. Just a card. No words inside. Just her signature, like she was signing a receipt. Every step felt like a betrayal of the girl I used to be. The girl who believed in real love. Real marriage. Real choice. Then I felt the baby kick, hard, and I remembered why I was doing this. I reached Julian. His hand was shaking when he took mine. The priest began talking. Old words about love and commitment and forever. Words that felt hollow in this place. If anyone has objections, the priest intoned, "Speak now or..." The chapel doors crashed open. Everyone turned. My mother stood in the doorway, dressed in black like she was attending a funeral. My heart stopped. "I object," she said clearly. The chapel erupted in whispers. Julian's hand tightened on mine. "Mom." I whispered. She walked down the aisle, her heels clicking on marble. When she reached us, her eyes were cold. "This is a mistake, Ellie. You don't belong here." "She belongs exactly where she is," Julian said, his voice ice. "She's 18. Pregnant. Being manipulated by people who see her as an incubator for their heir." My mother looked at me. "Come home. We'll figure this out. The baby can be adopted by a good Christian family." "No." The word exploded out of me. "You threw me out. You took money to abandon me. You don't get to play concerned mother now." "That money," she faltered. "I didn't know where it came from. I thought it was a blessing." "You didn't ask questions because you didn't want to know." Tears burned my eyes. "You wanted me gone. You wanted your shame erased. Well, congratulations. I'm gone. And you're not getting me back. Ellie, please." "Security," Julian said calmly. "Escort Mrs. Strode out." Two men in suits appeared. My mother looked between us, something breaking in her expression. "You'll regret this," she said to me. "All of it. I already regret knowing you." The words landed like a slap. My mother's face crumpled. But she let the security guards lead her away. The doors closed. The priest cleared his throat. "Shall we continue?" I was shaking. Julian pulled me closer, whispered in my ear. "We can stop. Right now. Say the word." I looked up at him. At this man who was offering me everything and nothing all at once. "Do you love me?" I asked. "Really love me? Or is this just about the baby?" He hesitated. Just for a second. But I saw it. "I'm trying to," he said honestly. "I want to. But I don't know if I even know what love is. It should have hurt. Should have made me run. Instead, it made me stay. Because at least he was honest." "Then let's figure it out together," I said. "You're sure?" "No. But I'm doing it anyway." He smiled. Really smiled. And for a second, I saw the man from that hotel room 9 months ago. The real Julian. Underneath all the Rothman armor. "Do you, Ellie Strode, take Julian Rothman?" Yes, I interrupted. Yes, I do. The priest blinked. I haven't finished. I don't care. Yes. My answer is yes. Julian laughed, actually laughed, and the sound filled the chapel. And do you, Julian? Yes, he said, eyes locked on mine. God help me, yes. Then by the power vested in me, I pronounce you husband and wife. Julian kissed me before the priest finished speaking. Deep. Real. Like he was trying to convince both of us this could work. When we broke apart, applause echoed through the chapel. We were married. I was Ellie Rothman now. For better or worse? Probably worse. The reception was in the ballroom. Ice sculptures and champagne and a cake I hadn't chosen. Everything decided by people who weren't me. Julian's hand never left mine as we greeted guests I didn't know. Everyone wanted to meet the mysterious girl who'd trapped Julian Rothman. To see if I was smart or just lucky. Smile, Julian murmured. Just a few more hours. And then what? Then we lock ourselves in a honeymoon suite and figure out what the hell we just did. A woman approached. 50s. Diamond necklace. Predatory smile. Julian, darling. Congratulations. She air-kissed him, then turned to me. And you must be the bride. How unexpected. Ellie, this is Diane Shepherd. She runs our pharmaceutical division, Julian said tightly. And I was on the short list of women who might marry Julian, Diane said sweetly. Before you came along. Lucky me, I said. She laughed. Oh, she has claws. Good. You'll need them. She leaned closer. Word of advice, dear. Prenup or not, don't get too comfortable. Rothman marriages rarely last. And when they end, the women always disappear quietly. Is that a threat? It's history. She sipped her champagne. Julian's father had 3 wives. All divorced. All signed NDAs. All living in obscurity somewhere with their settlement money. Her eyes gleamed. Just something to keep in mind. She walked away. I felt sick. Don't listen to her, Julian said. She's bitter, Anne. Is it true? About your father's wives. He didn't answer. Julian? He wasn't a good man, he said finally. None of us are. It's the family curse. Before I could respond, a commotion erupted at the entrance. Theodore Rothman was being wheeled in, oxygen mask on his face, looking half dead but determined. The crowd parted like the Red Sea. He rolled right up to us, pulled off the mask. Dance, he rasped to Julian. With your wife. Show them she belongs here. Julian led me to the dance floor. A waltz started, classical, elegant, everything I wasn't. I don't know how to waltz, I whispered. Follow my lead. He pulled me close as my belly allowed, and began to move. Smooth. Practiced. Like he'd been doing this his whole life. And he had been. This was his world. Ballrooms and business deals and people who smiled while planning your destruction. I don't fit here, I said. Good. Maybe you'll change it. Or it'll change me. His arms tightened. I won't let that happen. You can't stop it. Look at me, designer dress, Rothman name, playing the perfect wife for an audience. I blinked back tears. I don't even know who I am anymore. You're Ellie. You're the woman who faced down Victoria with a gun. Who made a deal with my grandfather. Who married me even though you're terrified. He leaned his forehead against mine. You're the strongest person I've ever met. Don't let them take that. The song ended. Applause rippled through the room. And then my water broke. Right there on the dance floor, in front of 200 people. I looked down at the puddle spreading across marble, then up at Julian. She's coming, I whispered. She's not due for 3 more weeks. Tell her that. A contraction hit. I gasped, doubling over. Julian caught me. Someone call an ambulance. Now. Everything became chaos. People shouting. My appearing with towels. Julian sweeping me into his arms like I weighed nothing, carrying me toward the door. Theodore's voice cut through the noise. No hospitals. Too dangerous. Take her to the medical wing. Dr. Morrison is already standing by. She needs a hospital. Julian started. Another contraction. Stronger. I screamed. No time, I said. The baby's coming fast. They rushed me through corridors into a room that had been set up like a delivery suite. How long had this been ready? Dr. Morrison was already there, gloved and ready. Mr. Rothman, you'll need to wait outside. I'm staying, Julian said. It's not appropriate. I'm staying. He held my hand as the contractions came faster. As I screamed and cried and cursed him for doing this to me. I'm sorry, he kept saying. I'm so sorry. You should be. I screamed. This is your fault. I know. You disappeared for 9 months. I know. I hate you. I know. Another contraction. The worst one yet. Dr. Morrison checked me. She's crowning. One more push, Ellie. Julian's face was white. You can do this. You're so strong. You? Shut up and let me break your hand. I pushed. And suddenly, cutting through all the pain and fear and chaos, I heard it. A cry. High and clear and furious at being born. It's a girl, Dr. Morrison announced. They placed her on my chest. Tiny. Perfect. Screaming like she was ready to fight the whole world. Our daughter. I looked at Julian. He was crying. Actually crying. She's beautiful, he whispered. She's perfect. She's ours, I said. And for the first time since this whole nightmare began, I felt something settle in my chest. Hope. Until Theodore wheeled himself into the room, took one look at the baby, and said, "That's not Julian's child." The world stopped. What? I breathed. Look at her, Julian. Really look. Theodore's voice was hard. Wrong eye color. Wrong bone structure. That baby has no Rothman blood. You're wrong, Julian said. You have to be wrong. DNA test. Now. Theodore signaled to Dr. Morrison. Before anyone else sees her. No, I said. No, this is insane. She's his daughter. I never slept with anyone else. Then you have nothing to fear from a test. Dr. Morrison swabbed the baby's mouth. Then Julian's. We waited. The longest 15 minutes of my life. Finally, Dr. Morrison looked up. And his face was pale. The test is negative, he said quietly. Julian is not the biological father. That's impossible. Julian's voice was hollow. Dead. I clutched our daughter, my daughter, closer to my chest. She'd stopped crying, was looking up at me with dark eyes that shouldn't exist. Because Julian had blue eyes. I had green. And she had brown. There has to be a mistake, I said desperately. Test again. The sample was contaminated or... The test is accurate, Dr. Morrison said. I'm sorry. Theodore wheeled closer, his eyes burning into me. Who did you sleep with? No one. I swear, I only. Lying won't help you now, girl. You've committed fraud. Tricked my grandson into marriage under false pretenses. His voice turned deadly. You're done here. Grandfather, wait, Julian started. She played you for a fool. Used you for your money, your name. I didn't. Tears streamed down my face. Julian, I swear, that night was my first time. You're the only man I've ever been with. The only one. Julian stared at me like he didn't know me. Then explain the baby, he said quietly. I can't. I don't understand. The door burst open. My rushed in, her face urgent. Stop the test, she gasped. Don't do anything until you hear this. Mrs. Chen, this is a private, Theodore began. Victor had a brother. I cut him off. A twin brother. Named David. The room went silent. What are you talking about? Theodore demanded. I pulled out her phone, showed us a photograph. A man who looked exactly like Julian. Same face. Same build. Same eyes. But it wasn't Julian. David Chen was Victor's identical twin, I said. And 26 years ago, he had an affair with Julian's mother. Julian's face went white. What? Your mother, Eleanor, she fell in love with David. They planned to run away together. But Theodore found out. I looked at the old man with pure hatred. You had David killed. Made it look like a suicide. And Eleanor was so broken she eventually killed herself too. That's a lie, Theodore said, but his voice wavered. It's not. And Victor knew. He's known for 26 years that Julian might not be Theodore's biological grandson. My voice shook. That's why he hid Ellie's pregnancy. Because he ran a DNA test on Julian months ago using David's stored medical records. And he found out the truth. My head was spinning. What truth? Julian isn't Theodore's grandson by blood, I said. He's David Chen's son. The words detonated like a bomb. Julian staggered backward. No. No, that's not. It's why you look nothing like the other Rothmans, I pressed on. Why you've always felt different. Why Theodore has always been so cold to you, he's known all along you weren't really his. Theodore's hands gripped his wheelchair arms. Prove it. Dr. Morrison swabbed Theodore's mouth with shaking hands. Ran the test against Julian's sample. We waited. The baby started crying again. I rocked her, my whole world tilting. If Julian wasn't a Rothman by blood. If I'd been telling the truth about him being my only. Then how? Dr. Morrison looked up. His face said everything. Julian is not a biological Rothman, he confirmed. Theodore made a sound like a dying animal. But the baby, I started. Run her DNA against Julian's again, I said urgently. Not as father-daughter. As half-siblings. Dr. Morrison's eyes widened. He ran the test. Positive. They share a father, he said slowly. Julian and the baby have the same biological father. The room spun. That's impossible, Julian whispered. Unless David Chen had another son, I finished. Someone who looks exactly like Julian. Someone who was at that hotel 9 months ago. My breath stopped. The man at the bar. The man I'd spent the night with. The man who'd given me a fake number. I'd thought it was Julian. But what if? Victor's son, I said. My stepson, Ethan. He's Julian's half-brother. And he's the real father of your baby. Where is he? Julian demanded. Gone. Disappeared the day after you slept with Ellie. My voice cracked. Victor sent him away. Paid him to seduce you, Ellie. To get you pregnant. Also that when Julian eventually found you, he'd believe the baby was his. Why? I gasped. Because if Julian married you and claimed the baby, Theodore would accept her as his heir, even though she has no Rothman blood. The Chen family would control the Rothman fortune through the child. Theodore was shaking with rage. Victor planned this. All of it. Yes. And when Julian started investigating, when things got complicated, Victor hired Victoria to eliminate both of you and take the baby. I pulled out a flash drive. I found all of it. Every plan. Every payment. Every lie. It's all here. Julian grabbed the flash drive, plugged it into Dr. Morrison's computer. Files opened. Emails. Bank transfers. Photographs. And there are surveillance photos of me. For months. Every moment documented. Me sleeping in my car. Me crying in a parking lot. Me standing on that bridge. All while they watched and waited for me to break. They were going to let you jump, I whispered. If Julian hadn't found you that night, Victor's plan was to let you die and claim the baby from your body. I thought I might vomit. Julian was reading through files, his face getting darker with each page. My mother, he said hoarsely. Victor has files on her death. On David's murder. He stopped. On 53 other people who've died suspiciously around this family. Victor has been cleaning up Theodore's messes for 30 years, I said. And planning his revenge just as long. This baby was supposed to be his ultimate victory, a Chen heir wearing the Rothman name. Theodore looked like he'd aged another decade. Where is Victor now? That's the problem, I said. He's gone. Disappeared completely. But before he left, he activated something. She pulled up another file. A dead man switch. If he doesn't check in every 72 hours, everything goes public. Every murder. Every crime. Every secret the Rothman family has buried for 3 generations. When did he disappear? Julian asked. 70 hours ago. We all looked at each other. We have 2 hours, Theodore said flatly. 2 hours to do what? I demanded. To find Victor. Stop him. Or watch this entire empire burn. Julian looked at me. At the baby in my arms who wasn't his daughter but was his half-sister. At the impossible mess we'd stumbled into. I'm sorry, he said. I'm so sorry you got dragged into this. Sorry. I laughed bitterly. Your family paid someone to seduce me. To get me pregnant. To destroy my entire life as part of some twisted revenge plot. And you're sorry? Ellie. This baby. I looked down at her tiny face. She was never supposed to be loved. She was supposed to be a weapon. She can still be loved, Julian said softly. She can still be. What? Your sister? Your responsibility. Tears burned my eyes. We're married because of a lie. Everything between us is built on manipulation and... Not everything. He moved closer. That night at the hotel. Before all of this. Whatever you felt, whoever you thought I was, that was real. The person you saw was real. But it wasn't you. It was a version of me. The version I wanted to be. His hand covered mine on the baby's head. And this little girl, she's innocent in all of this. She didn't ask to be a pawn. She deserves better. She deserves everything, I whispered. Then let's give it to her. Julian straightened. 2 hours. We find Victor. We stop the dead man switch. We save what's left of this family. And then? And then? His eyes met mine. And then you decide if you want to stay. If you want to be a Rothman. If you want anything to do with any of us. His voice dropped. If you want anything to do with me. Before I could answer, alarms started blaring. My phone lit up. Security breach. Someone's trying to access the estate servers. Victor, Theodore hissed. Or whoever's working with him, Julian said. Everyone to the security center. Now. They started moving. Dr. Morrison wheeled Theodore. I ran ahead. Julian paused at the door, looked back at me. Stay here. Lock the door. Don't open it for anyone but me. Julian. Please. Trust me. One more time. Then he was gone. I sat alone in the medical wing, holding a baby who was the product of a conspiracy, wearing a wedding dress stained with blood and broken dreams. And I had to make a choice. Run. Take the baby and disappear before this family destroyed us both. Or stay. Fight for the little girl in my arms. Fight for the truth. The baby looked up at me with those impossible brown eyes. And I knew. I'd never been good at running anyway. I stood, wincing at the pain, and carried my daughter toward the sound of alarms and chaos. Toward whatever came next. Because if the Chen family thought they could use my baby as a weapon, they were about to learn something important. I might have been a naive pastor's daughter 9 months ago. But I was a mother now. And mothers don't run. They fight. The security center was chaos. Screens everywhere showed different parts of the estate, gates, gardens, hallways, the perimeter. And on every screen, red warning lights flashed. Someone's bypassing our firewalls, a technician shouted. They're downloading everything. Julian was at the main console, fingers flying across keyboards. Mai stood beside him, barking orders into her phone. Theodore sat in his wheelchair, oxygen mask back on, looking like death itself. And I walked in carrying a newborn baby, still bleeding from childbirth, wearing a ruined wedding dress. Everyone stopped. Ellie, what are you doing here? Julian demanded. I told you to. I'm done being told what to do. I moved closer, the baby cradled against my chest. What's happening? Victor's not just releasing files, Mai said grimly. He's wiping them. Destroying evidence of his own crimes while making sure ours goes public. Can you stop him? Not unless we find where he's accessing from. He's using military-grade encryption, routing through a dozen countries. She stopped, eyes widening. Wait. Go back. Camera 47. The technician pulled up a feed from somewhere in the estate. My heart stopped. Because there, walking through the East Wing like he owned it, was the man from the hotel. The man I'd thought was Julian. Ethan Chen. He looked exactly like Julian. Same height. Same build. Same devastating smile. But where Julian's eyes held pain and secrets, Ethan's held nothing but cold calculation. He's here, I breathed. He's inside. That's impossible, Theodore rasped. Security would have. He has Victor's access codes, Mai said. He can go anywhere. On screen, Ethan stopped. Looked directly at the camera. And smiled. Then he held up a phone, typed something. Julian's phone buzzed. A text message. Bring me my daughter. Or in 90 seconds, everything goes public and I detonate the charges I planted in the server room. Charges. The technician's face went white. If the servers explode, the fire suppression system will seal this room. We'll be trapped. He's bluffing, Theodore said. He's Victor's son, Mai countered. He doesn't bluff. Julian looked at me. At the baby? No, I said immediately. Absolutely not. Ellie. You're not trading her like she's cargo. Another text, 60 seconds. And Ellie? I really did enjoy our night together. You were so sweet. So innocent. Almost made me feel guilty. Rage flooded through me. This man, this monster, had pretended to care. Had whispered promises. Had made me believe in something real while planning this all along. I'll kill him, I said quietly. Julian grabbed my arm. You just gave birth. You can barely stand. You're not. He used me. Got me pregnant as part of a scheme. Watched me suffer for months. And now he wants to take my daughter and use her to steal your family's fortune. I looked up at Julian. So yes. I'm going to kill him. Ellie. Or you can. I'm not picky. I thrust the baby into Mai's arms. Keep her safe. Whatever happens, keep her safe. What are you doing? Mai asked. Making a choice. I grabbed a letter opener from the desk. Not much of a weapon, but it was sharp and I was angry enough to make it work. 30 seconds, the text read. Bring the baby to the East Conservatory. Alone. Or everyone dies. I'm going, Julian said. We're going, I corrected. Together. He said alone. He can go to hell. Theodore made a sound that might have been a laugh. She's got spine, I'll give her that. Julian looked torn. Then he made a decision. Mai, get everyone out of this wing. If the servers blow, I want minimal casualties. He turned to the technicians. Can you delay the detonation? Maybe. If I can access the trigger mechanism. Do it. Julian grabbed my hand and we ran. Through marble corridors I was already learning to hate. Past portraits of dead Rothmans who'd probably all been as twisted as Theodore. Toward the conservatory where a man who wore Julian's face was waiting to destroy everything. When we get there, Julian said as we ran, let me do the talking. Why? Because Ethan's smart. Calculated. He won't kill us if he thinks we're useful. And if he doesn't, then we improvise. We burst into the conservatory, a glass-enclosed garden filled with exotic plants and the smell of earth and flowers. Moonlight poured through the glass ceiling. Ethan stood in the center, laptop open on a stone bench, gun in his hand. There you are, he said pleasantly. Right on time. Where's my daughter? Safe, I said. Somewhere you'll never find her. Brave words from a woman who's bleeding through her dress. His eyes traveled over me, clinical. You should be resting. Childbirth is traumatic. You would know, having watched me go through it on camera. He smiled. I watched a lot of things on camera. You sleeping in your car. Crying in parking lots. Standing on that bridge. His voice dropped. I almost stopped you that night. Almost called it off. You looked so broken. So ready to end it. But you didn't. No. Because broken was the point. Desperate was the goal. I needed you destroyed so thoroughly that when Julian showed up, you'd cling to him like a lifeline. He gestured to Julian. And you did. Perfectly. Married him in 3 days. Exactly as planned. Except the DNA test wasn't part of your plan, Julian said. Ethan's smile faltered. Just for a second. No. Grandfather getting suspicious, that was unexpected. But it doesn't matter now. I've got what I need. What you need is a baby you can use to claim the Rothman fortune, I said. But she's not going anywhere near you. You think you have a choice? Ethan raised the gun, pointed it at Julian. Bring me the baby or I shoot him. Simple transaction. Shoot him, I said. Both men stared at me. What? Ethan asked. You heard me. Shoot him. I moved closer to Julian. Because if you think I'm going to hand over my daughter to save a man I've known for less than a week, you don't understand mothers at all. You married him. Under duress. To survive. To protect her. I placed a hand on my still aching stomach. I would burn this entire estate down before I let you touch her. So shoot him. Shoot me. Do whatever you think will break me. But you're not getting that baby. Ethan's eyes narrowed. You're bluffing. Am I? I pulled the letter opener from where I'd hidden it in my dress. Held it to my own throat. How valuable is the baby if her mother's dead? Who raises the Rothman heir then? You? A man with no legal claim. I pressed the blade harder. Call my bluff. Ellie, stop, Julian said urgently. Why? He's going to kill us anyway. Might as well rob him of his victory first. For the first time, uncertainty crossed Ethan's face. You're insane, he said. I'm a mother. Same thing. I could feel blood trickling where the blade pressed. You have 10 seconds to put down the gun and surrender. Or I end this right now and your whole plan falls apart. You won't do it. Try me. I was ready to jump off a bridge 2 days ago. This is just faster. 10, Julian said quietly, catching on to my play. 9. You're both crazy. 8. 7. Ethan's gun wavered. 6. 5. Fine. Ethan lowered the gun. Fine. You win. Just put down the blade. I didn't move. Gun on the ground. Kick it away. He hesitated. Now. I screamed it, and the sound echoed through the glass conservatory. Ethan set the gun down. Kicked it toward Julian. Julian grabbed it, aimed it at Ethan. Hands up. Now. Ethan raised his hands, but he was smiling. You think this is over? You think stopping me stops anything? The dead man switch Julian started is already triggered. Has been since I walked into this estate. Ethan laughed. In 5 minutes, every file goes public. Every murder. Every crime. Every secret. The Rothman empire burns and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Then we'll rebuild, I said. With what? Your grandfather will be arrested for murder. The assets will be seized. The company will collapse. You'll lose everything. Good, Julian said flatly. This empire was built on blood and lies. Let it burn. Ethan's smile faded. You don't mean that. I've wanted to escape this prison my entire life. You're just giving me an excuse. Julian's hand found mine. We'll start over. Away from all of this. Build something real. With nothing? With a baby that's not even yours. With everything that matters, I said. With freedom. Ethan stared at us like we'd grown second heads. You're both fools. Maybe. But we're free fools. The sound of sirens cut through the night. Red and blue lights flashing through the glass. Police? Ethan's face went pale. How? Julian said simply. While you were texting me, she was calling the FBI. Gave them everything. Your location. The files. All of it. The conservatory doors burst open. Federal agents flooded in, guns drawn. Ethan Chen, you're under arrest for conspiracy, fraud, attempted murder. Ethan lunged for the laptop. Julian shot him. Not to kill. In the shoulder. Enough to stop him. Ethan went down screaming. The agent swarmed him. And then it was over. Just like that. I dropped the letter opener, my hand shaking so hard I could barely stand. Julian caught me before I fell. You were bluffing, he said. About killing yourself. You were bluffing, right? I honestly don't know, I whispered. He pulled me close, his heart hammering against my ear. You're insane. You married me. Worst decision of my life. Same. We stood there in the ruins of his family's empire, holding each other while federal agents arrested the man who destroyed my life, while sirens wailed and somewhere in the distance Theodore was probably having a heart attack. What happens now? I asked. Now. Julian pulled back to look at me. Now we go get our daughter, my sister, whatever she is to us. We make sure she's safe. We figure out the legal mess. We probably go to prison for something. Sounds terrible. Completely. Want to do it together? He smiled. Really smiled. I can't think of anyone else I'd rather commit crimes with. I kissed him. Right there with FBI agents as witnesses. Because maybe we'd started as a lie. Maybe everything about us was built on manipulation and conspiracy. But this choice to stay, to fight, to build something real from the ashes, this was true. An agent approached. Mrs. Rothman? We need you to come with us. We have questions. Am I under arrest? Not yet. But we need your statement about Victor Chen, about the conspiracy. Can it wait until after I check on my daughter? The agent looked at Julian, who was bleeding from a cut on his arm he'd gotten somewhere. At me, still bleeding from childbirth, wearing a destroyed wedding dress and holding a letter opener. 1 hour, the agent said. Then we talk. We walked out of the conservatory together. And ran straight into Theodore. He was out of his wheelchair, standing on legs that shouldn't have been able to support him, his face twisted with rage. You destroyed everything, he hissed at Julian. Everything I built. Everything I sacrificed for. You built a prison, Julian said calmly. And I'm tearing it down. That baby, she's not a Rothman. She's nothing. She's everything, I said. And you'll never touch her. Theodore looked between us. Then, slowly, something shifted in his expression. You really mean it, he said. You're really going to throw it all away? Yes, Julian said simply. The old man was quiet for a long moment. Then he started laughing. Really laughing. Eleanor would be proud, he said finally. My daughter-in-law. Your mother. She wanted to burn it all down too. Wanted to run away with David Chen and start over with nothing. His eyes were distant. I stopped her. And it killed her. Killed her spirit first, then her body. I know, Julian said quietly. Don't make the same mistake I did, boy. Theodore's voice cracked. Don't sacrifice love for legacy. Don't choose power over truth. He looked at me. Keep him honest. Keep him human. Keep him free. I will, I promised. Theodore nodded. Then he collapsed. Agents and paramedics rushed to him. They loaded him onto a stretcher. As they wheeled him past us, he grabbed my hand. The baby, he whispered. What will you name her? I looked at Julian. We hadn't even discussed it. Eleanor, I said. After Julian's mother. After the woman who wanted to be free. Theodore's eyes filled with tears. Perfect. Then they took him away. We found out later he died that night. Peacefully. Finally free of the empire that had consumed him. We found Mai in the medical wing, still holding baby Eleanor. My daughter. My fighter. Is it over? Mai asked. The conspiracy, yes, Julian said. The fallout? That's just beginning. The FBI questioned us for hours. About Victor. About Ethan. About the conspiracy that had stolen 9 months of my life. By the time they finished, it was dawn. We sat in the ruins of the medical wing, just me, Julian, Mai, and baby Eleanor. So, Julian said. What now? Now you figure out who you are without the Rothman name, Mai said. The company's assets are frozen. Most will be seized. You'll have enough to survive, but nothing like before. Good, I said. I never wanted the money anyway. Just the security, Julian said. Just the protection. I looked down at Eleanor, sleeping in my arms. For her. She'll have it, Julian promised. Just differently. Better. Mai stood. I should go. The FBI wants my statement too. About Victor's crimes. About everything. Will you be okay? I asked. She smiled sadly. I enabled my husband for 30 years. Looked the other way while he committed atrocities. I deserve whatever comes. You saved us, Julian said. That counts for something. Maybe. She touched Eleanor's tiny hand. Take care of her. She's the only good thing that came from this nightmare. After Mai left, it was just the 3 of us. I need to tell you something, I said quietly. What? When Ethan was pretending to be you. That night at the hotel. I swallowed hard. I fell in love with who I thought you were. The man who made me laugh. Who made me feel seen. Who made me believe in something more than my small, suffocating life. Ellie. But that wasn't you. That was a performance. A lie designed to manipulate me. Tears burned my eyes. So I don't know if what I felt was real. If what I feel now is real. If any of this is real. Julian set down the gun he'd been holding. Moved closer. That night at the hotel, he said. After I left. After I thought I'd never see you again. I cried. His voice was raw. For the first time since my mother's funeral, I cried. Because for a few hours, I'd felt alive. Real. Free. And walking away from that, from you, felt like dying. But you still left. Because I was a coward. Because I didn't know how to fight for something real. He cupped my face. But I'm not leaving now. Whatever this is between us, fake marriage, conspiracy baby, impossible situation, I'm not walking away. Why? Because you held a letter opener to your own throat to protect your daughter. Because you married a stranger to give her a future. Because you're the bravest person I've ever met, and he stopped. I don't know if it's love. I don't know if I'm capable of love. But whatever I'm capable of, it's yours. I kissed him. Soft. Tentative. Real. Eleanor woke up crying. We pulled apart, both of us laughing through tears. She has terrible timing, Julian said. She's hungry. And probably needs changing. And I have no idea what I'm doing. I looked at him helplessly. I'm 18. I just gave birth. I'm married to a man I don't really know. I have a baby born from a conspiracy. I don't have a home, or money, or any idea what happens next. Me neither, Julian admitted. So what do we do? He smiled. We figure it out. Together. One impossible day at a time. And somehow, in that moment, surrounded by the ruins of his family's empire and the ashes of both our old lives, that was enough. 3 weeks later, we were living in a 2-bedroom apartment in Tacoma. Not Seattle. Too many memories. Too many people who recognized the Rothman name and either pitied us or despised us. The apartment was small. The walls were thin. The neighbors were loud. It was perfect. She's down, Julian whispered, emerging from Eleanor's room. We'd turned the 2nd bedroom into a nursery with second-hand furniture and determination. I was on the couch, finally able to sit without wanting to cry. Recovery from childbirth was no joke. How long? I asked. 15 minutes this time. New record. Maybe she's finally adjusting to the sleep schedule. Or maybe she's plotting her next 3 a.m. screaming session. He collapsed beside me, and I caught the scent of baby powder and exhaustion. I never knew something so small could be so loud. She's a Rothman. Drama is in her DNA. Chen, he corrected. She's technically a Chen. We'd had the conversation a dozen times. What to tell Eleanor when she was old enough? How to explain that her biological father was a criminal, her legal father was actually her half-uncle, and her entire existence was the product of a conspiracy? We'll figure it out, I said, the same thing we always said. Julian's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, and his expression darkened. What? I asked. The FBI. They want us to testify against Ethan and Victor. Trial starts in 2 months. My stomach churned. Do we have to? If we want them convicted, yes. He set the phone down. They found Victor, by the way. Hiding in the Cayman Islands. I turned him in. How is she? House arrest. Cooperating with investigators. Her lawyer thinks she'll get probation instead of prison since she helped bring them down. He rubbed his face. She asked about Eleanor. Wants to know if she can send a gift. What did you say? I said I'd ask you. I thought about how she'd saved us even though it destroyed her own family. About the kindness in her eyes when she held Eleanor. Tell her yes, I said. Tell her she can visit. After the trial. When things settle. You're sure? She made the hard choice. She chose truth over loyalty. That deserves something. Julian pulled me closer, and I rested my head on his shoulder. We sat like that for a while, listening to the sounds of our neighbors fighting upstairs, traffic outside, the hum of the cheap refrigerator. Normal sounds. Regular life sounds. I'd never loved anything more. I got a job offer today, Julian said quietly. I sat up. What? Where? Tech startup in Bellevue. They need someone with my background in business development. It's entry-level. The pay is terrible. But it's legal. He looked at me. I'd be starting over. Completely. No Rothman name. No connections. Just me. What name would you use? He smiled. I was thinking Chen. Julian Chen. Claim my real father. Own who I actually am. I like it. I took his hand. And I got news too. What? Community college called. They're willing to let me re-enroll for fall semester. Night classes so I can be with Eleanor during the day. I bit my lip. I want to finish my degree. Maybe become a social worker. Help other girls who end up pregnant and alone. That's amazing, Ellie. It'll be hard. School and a baby, and I gestured between us. Whatever this is. A marriage? A marriage based on fraud that we're probably going to annul once the legal mess is sorted out. He was quiet for a moment. Do you want to annul it? The question hung between us. I thought about the last 3 weeks. Julian learning to change diapers at 2 a.m. Me teaching him how to make formula. Both of us collapsing into bed exhausted every night, too tired for anything but holding each other. The way he looked at Eleanor, not like a burden or a conspiracy, but like a miracle. The way he looked at me, like I was brave instead of broken. I don't know, I admitted. Do you? I don't know either. He touched my face. But I know I don't want you to leave. I know I wake up every morning grateful you're here. I know that when Eleanor cries, I want you beside me. When she laughs, I want to share it with you. His voice dropped. I know that somewhere in the last 3 weeks, this stopped feeling like an arrangement and started feeling like a family. I finished. Yeah. I kissed him. Soft and slow. Different from before. Not desperate or scared. Just present. When we pulled apart, he was smiling. Was that a yes? He asked. That was a let's see what happens. I can work with that. Eleanor started crying. We both groaned. I'll get her, I said. No, you rest. I've got it. He stood, headed toward the nursery, then paused. Ellie? Yeah? Thank you. For staying. For trying. For not running when you had every reason to. Where would I run to? You're my husband. She's my daughter. This tiny apartment with thin walls and loud neighbors is my home. I smiled. I'm not going anywhere. He disappeared into Eleanor's room, and I heard him talking to her in that soft voice he used only with her. Hey, little fighter. What's wrong? Hungry again? You're always hungry. Just like your mom. I laughed and settled back into the couch. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I almost didn't open it. We'd gotten threats since the story broke. People who blamed us for destroying the Rothman Empire. People who thought we should pay for Theodore's crimes. But something made me check. Ellie. It's Lydia. Your sister. Please don't delete this. I need to talk to you. It's important. About Mom and Dad. Please. My heart stopped. I hadn't spoken to my family since my mother crashed the wedding. Hadn't returned Lydia's texts. Couldn't bear to hear more about how I'd shamed them. But Lydia was different. Lydia had always been different. I typed back, what about them? The response came immediately, they're lying. About everything. The money they got, it wasn't just to make you leave. It was payment for something else. Something worse. Can we meet? Tomorrow? Please. You need to know the truth. I stared at the screen. Julian came back out, carrying Eleanor. She's hungry. Want me to make a bottle or? My sister texted, I interrupted. He went still. What did she say? I showed him the messages. It could be a trap, he said. Your family hasn't exactly proven trustworthy. Lydia's different. She's only 16. She was always kind to me, even when I stopped. What if she's telling the truth? What if there's more to the story? Then we find out. Together. He handed me Eleanor. But we're careful. We meet in public. We don't trust anything without proof. I nodded, taking my daughter. She latched onto the bottle immediately, her dark eyes fixed on my face. Do you ever wonder? I asked softly. What she would have been like if none of this had happened. If Ethan had never used me? If she'd been born into a normal family? Every day, Julian admitted. But then I remember, if none of this happened, she wouldn't exist. You wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be, whatever we are. Stockholm Syndrome. He laughed. Maybe. But it's nice Stockholm Syndrome. Eleanor finished her bottle. I burped her, and she promptly spit up all over my shirt. Glamorous, I muttered. Very. Julian grabbed a towel. Here. Let me. A knock at the door. We both froze. It was 10 p.m. We weren't expecting anyone. Stay here, Julian said, moving toward the door. If it's FBI agents again, tell them we already gave our statements. He looked through the peephole. His entire body went rigid. What? I asked. Who is it? You're not going to believe this. He opened the door. And standing in the hallway, looking exactly like Julian except older and wearing an expensive suit that didn't belong in our apartment building, was a man I'd never seen before. But I recognized him anyway. From the photographs in Theodore's study. From the files we'd read. David Chen. Julian's biological father. Who was supposed to be dead. Hello, son, David said quietly. I know you have questions. And I have answers. Can I come in? Julian stood frozen in the doorway. I clutched Eleanor closer. And David Chen, the dead man, the ghost, the biological father who'd supposedly been murdered 26 years ago, smiled sadly. I know this is a shock. But please? There are things you need to know. Things about Victor. About Ethan. About why everything happened the way it did. His eyes found me, found Eleanor. And about why that baby is in more danger than you realize. You're dead, Julian said flatly. Theodore had you killed. Theodore thought he had me killed. There's a difference. David glanced down the hallway. Please. Let me in. I'm being followed. If they find me here, they'll find you. And I can't let that happen again. Again? I asked. David's eyes were sad. You think Victor acted alone? You think Ethan came up with that plan by himself? He shook his head. This goes deeper than you know. And if you don't hear me out, you're all going to die. Julian and I looked at each other. Every instinct screamed not to trust him. Not to let him in. Not to believe a word from a ghost. But Eleanor was in my arms. And if there was even a chance she was in danger. 5 minutes, Julian said, stepping aside. Then you leave and never come back. David walked in, and I saw the resemblance immediately. The same eyes as Julian. The same way of moving. The same careful control. Thank you, he said. Julian closed the door. Locked it. Talk, he said. Who's following you? Who wants Eleanor dead? David looked at the baby in my arms, and something broke in his expression. My daughter, he whispered. I have a daughter. Eleanor is my daughter, I said firmly. Ethan is her biological father. You're her grandfather. That's all. I know. I know. I'm sorry. He dragged his eyes away from her. The people following me, they're the same people who've been controlling the Rothman family for 3 generations. The same people Theodore thought he was working for, when really they were working him. Who? Julian demanded. An organization called the Consortium. Billionaires. Politicians. Corporate leaders. They don't care about one family's fortune. They care about control. About power. David's voice shook. Theodore was their puppet. And when he started questioning orders, when he started going rogue, they decided to replace him. With who? With whoever they could control through that baby. He pointed at Eleanor. Don't you see? Victor wasn't working alone. He was working for them. The whole plan, getting Ellie pregnant, isolating her, making sure she'd marry Julian and the baby would be accepted as the Rothman heir, it was all to install a puppet they could control from birth. My blood ran cold. But the plan failed. Ethan and Victor are in custody. Ethan and Victor were expendable. The consortium has others. And now that the truth is out, now that the world knows Eleanor isn't a biological Rothman, they have a new plan. David looked at Julian. They're going to kill all of you and claim the estate through legal loopholes. Without heirs, the Rothman fortune defaults to corporate holdings, which they control. That's insane, I said. That's business. David pulled out a folder. I've been gathering evidence for 26 years. Names. Transactions. Murders they've committed. It's all here. But I can't go public alone, they'll kill me before I reach a courthouse. I need you. Julian took the folder. Opened it. His face went white. What? I asked. What is it? He showed me. Photographs. Documents. Bank transfers. And one name that appeared over and over. Pastor Thomas Strode. My father. No, I breathed. Your father isn't just a pastor, Ellie, David said gently. He's been laundering money for the consortium for 15 years. Using the church as a front. That $50,000 your mother received? That was a test. To see if she'd follow orders. And she did. Perfectly. I felt like I might throw up. My father is part of this. Your whole family is. Your mother. Your father. Even, he hesitated. Even who? Even Lydia. The text you got tonight. The meeting she wants. It's a trap. Julian grabbed his phone. I'm calling the FBI. They can't help. Half the agents on your case are consortium. Why do you think the trial keeps getting delayed? Why do you think Victor and Ethan keep getting special treatment? David's voice was urgent. You're not safe anywhere. Not here. Not with police. Not anywhere they can find you. Then what do we do? I demanded. You run. Now. Tonight. I have a safe house in Canada. Fake identities ready. Money they can't trace. We disappear until I can find someone trustworthy to bring this evidence to. We just started building a life here, I said. Julian has a job offer. I'm going back to school. We have an apartment, and friends, Anne. And you'll have a grave if you stay, David said bluntly. I'm sorry. I know it's not fair. But fair doesn't matter to these people. Only power matters. Only control. Eleanor started crying. As if she understood. As if she knew our tiny perfect life was about to be ripped apart again. Julian looked at me. And I saw everything in his eyes. The exhaustion of running. The desire for normal. The desperate hope that maybe, finally, we could stop. But I also saw love. For me. For Eleanor. For the impossible family we'd built from lies. We run, I said quietly. We pack what we can carry and we run. Ellie. We don't have a choice. If he's telling the truth, staying here gets us killed. If he's lying, we figure it out when we're safe. I looked at David. But know this, if you're betraying us, if this is another manipulation, I will find a way to destroy you. David smiled sadly. You really are like Eleanor. Like Julian's mother. She threatened me the exact same way when we planned to run away together. What happened? Julian asked hoarsely. I wasn't fast enough. Wasn't careful enough. Theodore found us before we could leave. And his voice broke. I let him think he'd killed me. Let Eleanor think I was dead. Hid for 26 years while she suffered. While she killed herself. Because I was a coward. You're not making a great case for us trusting you, I said. I know. But I learned from my mistakes. And I won't let history repeat itself. He looked at Eleanor. I won't let that little girl grow up the way Julian did. Or the way Eleanor did. I won't let the consortium take another generation. Julian was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, we pack. We leave in 20 minutes. But David, if this is a trap, if you're lying to us, I will kill you myself. Blood or not. Understood. We moved fast. Threw clothes into bags. Formula. Diapers. The few things Eleanor would need. I grabbed the stuffed rabbit Mai had sent. The only gift Eleanor had from her biological grandmother. Julian grabbed his mother's letter. The one thing he'd kept from his old life. 20 minutes later, we were ready. The car's out back, David said. Untraceable. I'll drive. You two rest. We have a long trip ahead. We slipped out the back entrance, into the alley where a nondescript sedan waited. As we drove away from our apartment, from our jobs and school plans and normal life, I looked back. And saw figures emerging from the shadows. Men in suits. Moving toward our building. They were already here, I whispered. I know, David said. You would have been dead by morning. Julian's hand found mine in the darkness. And as we raced north toward Canada, toward another new life, toward more running and hiding and fear, I held Eleanor close and made a promise. This couldn't keep happening. This cycle of running and conspiracy and danger. Somehow, some way, we had to end this. Not just for us. For her. She deserved better than this. Better than a life spent hiding. Better than parents who were always looking over their shoulders. She deserved freedom. Real freedom. And I was going to give it to her. Even if it meant facing the consortium myself. Even if it meant going to war with the most powerful people in the world. I was done running. But first, we had to survive the night. The safe house in Vancouver was a cabin on the edge of a lake. Isolated. Silent. Safe. For exactly 3 days. On the 4th morning, I woke to find David gone and a note on the table. I'm sorry. They found me. Leading them away. Don't follow. Protect Eleanor. The evidence is under the floorboard in the bedroom. Use it wisely. D. Julian read the note over my shoulder. He's buying us time, he said. Or he led them straight to us and ran. I pulled up the floorboard. The folder was there, along with a burner phone and a key. What's this? Julian examined the key. Safety deposit box. Vancouver First Bank. The burner phone rang. We stared at it. Julian answered. Put it on speaker. Julian Rothman. The voice was cultured. Cold. Familiar somehow. I've been looking forward to this conversation. Who is this? Someone who wants to make you an offer. Your life and freedom in exchange for the evidence David stole. And the baby. My blood turned to ice. Never, Julian said. Think carefully. The consortium controls everything. Courts. Police. Media. You can't win. But you can survive. Walk away. Leave the child. We'll raise her properly. Give her everything. She's not for sale. Everything is for sale, Mr. Rothman. Your grandfather understood that. Your father, your biological father, understood it too. That's why he's currently bleeding out in a warehouse on the Seattle docks. Because he thought he could steal from us. I grabbed Julian's arm. David was dying. Because of us. Last chance, the voice said. The child for your lives. Julian looked at me. At Eleanor sleeping in my arms. And I saw him make a decision. Come and take her, he said. Then he smashed the phone. What are you doing? I demanded. Ending this. He grabbed the evidence folder. We're not running anymore. We're going to war. With what? We have no allies, no resources. We have the truth. We have proof of everything they've done. His eyes blazed. And we have the one thing they want most. Eleanor. Which means we have leverage. You want to use our daughter as bait. I want to use their greed against them. He pulled out his phone, his real phone. I need you to do something crazy. 48 hours later, we stood in the lobby of the Seattle Times. Eleanor was with Mai, hidden somewhere safe. The evidence was in the hands of 3 different journalists who'd verified every document. And in my pocket was a device that would broadcast everything live if anything happened to us. You're sure about this? I asked Julian. No. But I'm doing it anyway. The elevator doors opened. And standing in the newsroom, surrounded by cameras and reporters, were the faces of the consortium. Including one I recognized. Pastor Thomas Strode. My father. Ellie, he said, his voice breaking. Please. Don't do this. Why not? You sold me out. Took their money. Let them destroy my life. I was trying to protect you. They threatened to kill our whole family if I didn't cooperate. Your mother, Lydia, everyone. Liar, Lydia's voice cut through. She stepped out from behind a camera. Tell her the truth, Dad. Tell her why you really did it. My father's face crumbled. Lydia, please. He's been gambling. Church funds. He was about to be caught. The consortium offered to cover his debts if he helped control you. Lydia looked at me, tears streaming. I found the records. I've been gathering evidence for months. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you sooner. I had to wait until I had proof. The reporters were recording everything. Julian stepped forward, holding the evidence folder. This contains proof of 30 years of crimes. Murder. Fraud. Conspiracy. And every name associated with the consortium. He looked at the cameras. As of right now, this is all public record. You can't kill us all. You can't silence everyone. It's over. One of the consortium members, an elderly woman who looked like someone's grandmother, smiled. You think exposing us changes anything? We'll tie this up in courts for decades. We'll discredit you. You'll go to prison, Mai said, walking in with Eleanor. Federal agents flanked her. Real ones this time, vetted by journalists. Because we didn't just go to the media. We went to the international authorities. Interpol. The UN. You're done. The agents moved forward. And the consortium members realized they'd lost. My father tried to approach me. Ellie, please. I'm sorry. I was weak. I made mistakes. You sold your daughter for gambling debts, I said coldly. We're done. Forever. But I'm your father. No. You're nothing. I took Eleanor from Mai. This is my family now. Not you. Lydia stepped forward. Can I still be part of it? I looked at my little sister. At the courage it took to betray our parents. To choose truth. Always, I said. She hugged me, careful of the baby. And as federal agents arrested my father, as the consortium crumbled, as flashbulbs popped and the truth finally came to light, I felt something I hadn't felt in 9 months. Peace. 6 months later. I stood in the kitchen of our new house, a real house, with a yard and a fence and neighbors who baked cookies, watching Julian chase Eleanor across the living room floor. She wasn't walking yet, but she was crawling like an Olympic athlete, determination written all over her tiny face. Come on, fighter, Julian encouraged, crouch low. You can do it. She lunged forward, grabbed his nose, and laughed. That pure, unself-conscious baby laugh that made everything worth it. Vicious, he declared, scooping her up. Absolutely savage. Where did you learn these attack moves? From her mother, I said, sliding scrambled eggs onto plates. Come eat before it gets cold. We'd bought the house with what was left of the Rothman estate after the government seizures and victim restitution. It wasn't a mansion. It was a 3-bedroom craftsman in Olympia, far enough from Seattle to feel safe but close enough to visit Mai and Lydia. Julian had taken the job at the tech startup. Turned out he was brilliant at business development when he wasn't being crushed under the weight of a criminal empire. They'd promoted him twice already. I'd enrolled in community college. Social work, like I'd planned. Night classes while Julian stayed home with Eleanor. We traded off, tag team parenthood, figured it out as we went. It wasn't easy. Some nights Eleanor screamed for hours. Some days the exhaustion felt crushing. Some moments I looked at Julian and still saw a stranger. But some moments I looked at him and saw home. Mail came, Julian said, settling Eleanor into her high chair. He tossed a stack of envelopes on the table. Bills, junk, more bills, and he stopped. Letter from my. I opened it while feeding Eleanor tiny pieces of banana. Dear Ellie and Julian. My sentence was finalized yesterday. 3 years probation, community service, and a permanent record. I deserve worse. I enabled Victor's crimes for decades, looked the other way, chose comfort over truth. But the judge said my cooperation brought down the consortium. That I helped save lives, including yours. So perhaps some good came from my cowardice after all. I'm moving to Portland. Fresh start. Victor and Ethan will spend the rest of their lives in prison, and I need distance from that legacy. But I'd love to visit Eleanor sometimes, if you'll allow it. I know I'm her biological grandmother, but I understand if you'd rather I stayed away. Whatever you decide, know that I think of you both every day. You took everything broken and made it beautiful. That's a rare gift. With love, my. I looked at Julian. What do you think? I think Eleanor deserves to know where she came from. The good and the bad. He wiped banana off her chin. And I think I chose right when it mattered most. That counts for something. I wrote back immediately, come visit anytime. Your family. Another envelope caught my eye. Lydia's handwriting. Ellie. I got accepted to University of Washington. Full scholarship for journalism. I'm going to be an investigative reporter, just like the ones who helped bring down the consortium. Mom and Dad are selling the house. Turns out when your pastor gets arrested for money laundering, the congregation stops donating. Who knew? Mom keeps asking about you. Wanting to know if she can meet Eleanor. I told her no. Was that okay? I know she's technically Eleanor's grandmother, but after everything. Let me know when I can visit. I miss you. I miss my niece. I even miss Julian's terrible dad jokes. Love, Lydia. P.S. I'm dating someone. His name is Sam. He's pre-law. Kind. Nothing like our parents. I think you'd like him. I smiled. Lydia's coming to visit next weekend. She has a boyfriend. Our little sister is growing up. Julian had started calling Lydia our sister months ago, and it made my heart warm every time. She wants to know if Mom can meet Eleanor. Julian's expression hardened. Absolutely not. That's what I thought too. I texted Lydia back, congratulations on UW. Can't wait to meet Sam. And no, Mom doesn't get to meet Eleanor. Some bridges need to stay burned. The doorbell rang. Julian tensed. We both still did that. Every unexpected noise sent us into fight or flight mode. Trauma didn't disappear just because the danger did. I'll get it, he said, checking the security camera we'd installed. His shoulders relaxed. It's just a delivery. He came back with a large package. No return address. We looked at each other. Should we call the police? I asked. Or I could just open it like a normal person receiving a normal package. Nothing about our life is normal. Fair point. He grabbed a knife, cut carefully through the tape. Inside was a wooden box. Hand-carved. Beautiful. And a letter. Julian opened it, read aloud. Julian. By the time you read this, I'll be dead. The wounds from leading the consortium away from you were too severe. But I got to see you one more time. Got to meet my granddaughter. That's more than I deserved after abandoning your mother. In this box are letters. Dozens of them. Letters your mother wrote to you before she died. Letters Theodore confiscated and hid. Letters where she tells you how much she loved you, how she dreamed of your future, how she begged you to be braver than she was. Read them. Share them with Eleanor when she's old enough. Let her know that love, real love, is worth fighting for. Even when the fight costs everything. I'm sorry I wasn't strong enough to fight for your mother. But I'm grateful you were strong enough to fight for Ellie. With love and regret. Your father, David Chen. Julian's hand shook as he opened the box. Inside were letters. Dozens. All addressed to him in his mother's handwriting. He picked up the first one, dated 2 weeks before she died. My dearest Julian. You are 7 years old today, and you gave me the most beautiful drawing of a bird. You said it was flying away to somewhere free. Somewhere happy. I hope you fly someday, my darling boy. I hope you escape this golden cage and find real happiness. Real love. Real life. If you're reading this, I'm gone. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I wasn't strong enough to take you with me. But know that every breath you take, every choice you make, every moment you choose love over power, you honor me. Fly, my beautiful boy. Fly far from here. All my love, Mom. Julian was crying. Silent tears streaming down his face. I pulled him close, Eleanor between us, and let him grieve for the mother he'd lost, the father he'd barely known, the childhood stolen by people who valued power over love. She'd be proud of you, I whispered. So proud. I abandoned everything she built her life on. The Rothman name, the fortune, the empire. No. You claimed everything she died wishing for. Freedom. Truth. Love. I touched his face. You flew, Julian. Just like she asked. He kissed me then. Deep and real and full of all the things we'd been too scared to say. When we pulled apart, Eleanor was watching us with those serious dark eyes, like she understood something profound was happening. I love you, Julian said. Not to Eleanor. To me. My heart stopped. What? I love you, Ellie Rothman. I don't know when it happened. Maybe that first night. Maybe when you held a letter opener to your throat to protect our daughter. Maybe this morning when you were singing off-key while making coffee. He smiled through tears. But I love you. Completely. Imperfectly. Really. I'd been waiting 6 months to hear those words. 6 months of wondering if what we had was real or just trauma bonding. I love you too, I said. Even though you snore. And leave wet towels on the floor. And can't cook anything except toast. I make excellent toast. You burn toast. With love. We laughed, and Eleanor laughed with us, and in that moment, surrounded by letters from a dead woman who'd dreamed of freedom, in a modest house in Olympia, with a baby born from conspiracy but raised with love, I felt it. Complete happiness. Not perfect. Perfect didn't exist. But real. True. Ours. 1 year later. Eleanor took her first steps in the backyard during her first birthday party. I was there, having moved back to Seattle to be closer to us. Lydia was there with Sam, who turned out to be exactly as kind as she described. A few colleagues from Julian's work. Some of my classmates from school. Small. Intimate. Family we'd chosen rather than been born into. Eleanor wobbled across the grass, arms out for balance, heading straight for Julian. Come on, fighter, he encouraged. You've got this. She took 3 steps. 4. 5. Then fell on her diaper-padded bottom and laughed. Everyone cheered. I caught Julian's eye across the yard, and he mouthed, "Thank you." For what? For staying. For fighting. For believing we could build something real from all the broken pieces. For loving him even when it was terrifying. For being brave enough to choose him every single day. That night, after everyone left, after Eleanor was asleep, we sat on the back porch watching stars. I have something for you, Julian said. He pulled out a small box. My heart stopped. Julian. Before you panic, it's not what you think. He opened it. Inside were 2 rings. Simple silver bands. I know we're already married. I know it started as a fraud to protect Eleanor. But I want to do it again. For real this time. Vows we actually mean. Promises we choose. You want to marry me again. I want to marry you for the first time. Really marry you. Not because we're scared or desperate or trapped. Because we love each other. Because we want to. He took my hand. Ellie Strode Rothman Chen, whatever name you choose, will you marry me? Again? For real? I looked at this man who'd been a stranger, then a conspiracy, then a partner, then the love of my life. Yes, I said. 1,000 times yes. He slipped the ring on my finger. I did the same for him. We should probably have an actual wedding, I said. With witnesses and vows, Anne. Or we could go to the courthouse Monday. Just us and Eleanor. No drama. No audience. Just real. I love that idea. I love you. I love you too. We kissed under the stars, in the backyard of our modest house, with our sleeping daughter inside and our whole messy, beautiful future ahead. 5 years later. Eleanor started kindergarten wearing a Wonder Woman backpack and an expression that said she was ready to conquer the world. Remember, I told her. Be kind. Be brave. And if anyone asks about your family, I tell them the truth, she finished. She'd heard this speech a dozen times. That families are complicated. That love is what matters. And that my name is Eleanor Chen and I'm going to change the world. That's my girl. Julian crouched down, adjusted her backpack. And if anyone's mean to you, I tell the teacher. Then I tell you. Then we handle it together. She rolled her eyes. I know, Dad. You've told me 1,000,000 times. Dad. She'd started calling him that 6 months ago. We'd never hidden the truth, that Julian was technically her uncle, that her biological father was in prison, that her existence was the result of a conspiracy. But we'd also taught her that family wasn't about biology. It was about choice. About love. About showing up every single day. And Julian had shown up every single day. We walked her to the bus stop. Watched her climb aboard with confidence that made my heart burst. As the bus pulled away, Julian pulled me close. We did it, he said. Did what? Gave her a childhood. A real one. Safe. Loved. Normal. Well, mostly normal. She does think her bedtime stories about evil conspiracies are real. They are real. We just defeated them. I laughed. Fair point. We walked back home hand in hand. The house had grown with us. We'd added on a studio for my social work practice. A home office for Julian. A playroom for Eleanor. It wasn't a mansion. But it was ours. My phone buzzed. A text from Lydia, now a successful investigative journalist. Guess who just got engaged? Sam proposed last night. You and Julian need to help plan the wedding because I have no idea what I'm doing. Also, Eleanor is going to be flower girl. Non-negotiable. I showed Julian. He smiled. Our family keeps growing. Think we can handle it. We've handled conspiracies, murder attempts, and the terrible twos. A wedding will be easy. You clearly haven't been to one of Lydia's parties. Chaos. Our specialty. Inside, I checked my calendar. Therapy appointment tomorrow, we both still went, processing trauma took time. Parent-teacher conference next week. Date night Friday, I had volunteered to babysit. Normal life. Beautiful, complicated, normal life. Julian came up behind me, wrapped his arms around my waist. Any regrets? He asked. I thought about the scared 18-year-old girl who'd stood on a bridge ready to jump. About the pastor's daughter who'd thought her life was over. About how wrong she'd been. Not a single one, I said. Not even marrying a reformed billionaire with trust issues and a criminal family. Especially that. I turned in his arms. You're the best mistake I ever made. You're the best real thing that ever happened to me. We kissed, soft and familiar, in the kitchen of our home, with pictures of Eleanor covering the fridge and Mai's latest care package on the counter and Lydia's engagement announcement pulled up on my phone. This was family. Messy. Chosen. Real. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. 10 years later. Eleanor Chen stood at her middle school graduation, valedictorian at 13, giving a speech about resilience. My family isn't traditional, she told the audience. My dad is technically my uncle. My biological father is in prison. I was born as part of a conspiracy to steal a fortune. And my parents' marriage started as a fraud. Nervous laughter rippled through the crowd. But here's what I learned, family isn't about biology or tradition or doing things the right way. It's about people who show up. Who choose you every day. Who love you even when loving you is hard. She looked directly at us. At Julian, who was crying. At me, bursting with pride. At Lydia and Sam in the front row with their twin boys. At my, beaming like the proud grandmother she'd become. My parents could have run from their past. Could have hidden the truth. Could have pretended to be something they weren't. But instead, they taught me that truth is stronger than secrets. That love is braver than fear. That being real is worth more than being perfect. Standing ovation. Because our daughter, fierce, brilliant, impossible Eleanor, had just told her truth to the world. And the world had listened. After the ceremony, we went out for ice cream. Our tradition. Think you'll write about us someday? Julian asked Eleanor. When you're a famous journalist like Aunt Lydia. Obviously. She licked her chocolate cone. Our story is incredible. Conspiracy, murder, romance, redemption. It's got everything. Don't make me sound too heroic, I said. I cried a lot. And threatened people with letter openers. That's the best part. You were real. Flawed. Human. Eleanor grinned. Plus, the whole holding a knife to your own throat thing is very dramatic. Readers will love it. Your mother, the dramatic letter opener wielder, Julian said. That's going on my tombstone. Right next to Julian Chen, reformed billionaire, mediocre cook, excellent husband. I'm an excellent cook now. I made that casserole last week. You burned the casserole. With love. Eleanor laughed. That same pure laugh she'd had as a baby. And I realized something. We'd done it. Despite everything, the conspiracy, the trauma, the impossible odds, we'd given her exactly what we'd promised. A childhood full of love. A family built on truth. A future full of possibilities. She would never have to run. Never have to hide who she was. Never have to choose between truth and survival. Because we'd fought that battle for her. And we'd won. 20 years later. I stood in the back of a crowded auditorium, watching Eleanor Chen accept the Pulitzer Prize for Investigative Journalism. She was 33. Beautiful. Fierce. Everything we'd hoped she'd become. This award belongs to my parents, she said into the microphone. Julian and Ellie Chen. They taught me that truth matters. That corruption can be defeated. That ordinary people can stand up to extraordinary evil and win. Julian squeezed my hand. We were in our 50s now. Grey in our hair. Lines on our faces. Bodies that protested when we moved too fast. But still together. Still in love. Still choosing each other every single day. Thank you, Eleanor continued, for showing me that love is the most powerful force in the world. Stronger than money. Stronger than fear. Stronger than anything the darkness can throw at us. She looked directly at us. I love you both. Thank you for fighting for me. Thank you for being real. We stood and applauded our daughter, this impossible, miraculous woman who'd been born from conspiracy but raised with love. And I thought about that scared girl on the bridge all those years ago. If I could go back and tell her what was coming, the pain and fear and impossible choices, would she still jump? No. Because she'd also experienced joy beyond measure. Love beyond reason. Purpose beyond herself. She'd become a mother. A wife. A fighter. A survivor. She'd become me. And I'd do it all again. Every terrifying moment. Every impossible choice. Every heartbreak and triumph. Because it led here. To this moment. To this family. To this beautiful, messy, real life. Julian leaned over and whispered, "We did good, Ellie. We did great. Think Eleanor will write our story now? After this? Probably. She's been threatening to for years. How should it start?" I smiled, remembering. With a girl on a bridge. About to jump. And a billionaire showing up in a BMW to tell her she's carrying the most valuable baby in America. And how should it end? I looked at our daughter on that stage. At Lydia and Sam in the front row with their family. At my 80 years old and still fierce. At the life we'd built from ashes and lies and impossible love. With the truth, I said. That love wins. Always. Even when it seems impossible. Even when the whole world is against you. Love wins. Julian kissed my temple. I love you, Ellie Chen. I love you too. Always have. Always will. And as we walked out of that auditorium, hand in hand, into the rest of our beautiful, imperfect, perfectly real life, I sent a silent thank you to the scared girl on that bridge. Thank you for being brave enough to step down. Thank you for choosing to fight. Thank you for believing that maybe, just maybe, love was worth the risk. You were right. It was. The end. Thank you so much for staying with me through this entire journey. Ellie and Julian's story proves that even when life starts with impossible circumstances, conspiracy, betrayal, manipulation, love and truth can transform everything. From a bridge where she almost ended it all, to a Pulitzer Prize ceremony celebrating her daughter's achievements, Ellie's journey reminds us that our darkest moments can lead to our greatest victories. If this story touched your heart, please leave a comment below telling me what part resonated most with you. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now, because every week I bring you stories of real people overcoming impossible odds through courage, love, and the power of truth. Where are you watching from? What would you have done in Ellie's position? Let me know in the comments. Remember, no matter how dark your situation seems, no matter how impossible the odds, love always finds a way. Truth always wins. And you are stronger than you know. Until next time, keep fighting. Keep loving. Keep being real. This is your storyteller, signing off. Red Heart Hash.